don't know. I'm looking at a top 10 bodybuilder in the fucking world.
Fucking right. Yeah, man.
You did it.
Great.
You nailed it. 7th.
Yeah. 7th. Yeah.
How does that feel, man? I don't know how that feels. That's crazy.
Feels fucking good, man. Yeah. I mean, like, it's everything I hope to accomplish for the show and more, you know?
I think I have to rethink my tier system.
I don't know if I'm quite first tier, but in your books, but I'm right on the cusp now.
You're right on the fucking line, man.
If I got that 6th and been that first call out, then you'd have to give me it.
Yeah, you'd be in 100%.
Yeah, I'm right on the first now.
No, man, I'm extremely proud of you. I think it's absolutely incredible. And honestly, your conditioning was best in the show. Like you had a really thin skin look that I haven't seen in a long time. Like the last time I saw that was on Hottie.
Yeah.
Like a year or two ago, I think it was.
Vancouver 2019.
Yeah. So what did you guys do different between Friday and Saturday? Nothing, just kind of stay on top of everything?
Yeah. Like I got off stage. I had one clean meal, just like a steak and rice meal, went straight to bed, took a little tiny, like a quarter Diazide before bed, kept drinking the water like normal, woke up and just followed the exact same plan we had done Friday on to Saturday. And that was it.
What is it? Okay. Other than feeling great, what does it mean to be 7th? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, what does it mean moving forward? What does it mean for your career? Cause you've had some ups and downs. Mm-hmm. So like,
I mean, obviously, you know, there's an increase in pressure for sure, but I think it's a good kind of pressure. I mean, I think, you know, going into a lot of shows now, my expectations for myself and from others is definitely going to be higher. You know, and obviously, you know, like things before, like I'd said, like, oh, I don't really want to do the Arnold because it's like, you know, there's no point in me doing it the Arnold yet if I'm not even like top 10 in the Olympia kind of thing. So obviously shows like that now it's like, okay, maybe that would be something I'd think about.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, it's definitely a catapult into the next kind of tier if we want to get back into that bullshit again. Open that can of worms. You know, in my bodybuilding career, absolutely. You know, so it's exciting, really. I mean, you know.
When you were coming up, so when I was coming up in bodybuilding, I always had a whole bunch of checkpoints, and I try and tell people this is what they need to do if they need to go far. Because some people come to me and be like, "I want to get on the Olympia stage," and I'm like, "Well, you haven't done your first show yet."
Yeah.
So, what were some of the checkpoints? I mean, obviously, you want to get your pro card and all that, but after you turned pro, what were some of the checkpoints or smaller goals that you had set to get to this point?
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of went like obviously everything was incremental, right? I mean, you know, I had to readjust my expectations because going into my first pro show, like I mean, you remember you won that show. I got a lot of hype going into that show, and like I had kind of set my expectations way higher than I think they should have been going into, you know, for where my physique was going into a pro debut.
Yeah.
You know, I ended up 7th, which to me at the time felt disappointing. You know, looking at it in retrospect, it wasn't at all.
No, yeah.
You know, and then I went and came 5th at Toronto right after that. So, you know, I mean, after I got that 5th at Toronto, then it was like, okay, I want a top 3. And then it took me a while to get that top 3 because like 2016 was my next season, which was actually my worst season. You know, those were the 2 lowest placings. I got a 7th and a 9th that year, that was the only time 6th and a 9th. That was the only time my entire career outside the Olympia I'd ever been to second call out.
Yeah.
Which was at Vancouver Pro 2016. Even Orlando, where I was 7th, they did a 7-man first call out. And in Toronto, where I was 6th, it was a 6-man first call out. So I'd never been outside of first call out in my life. You know, and that's when I kind of decided to take that 2017 season off entirely, working with Jansen, and come back in 2018. And then, you know, after that, then I never slipped outside of a top 4 ever again. I haven't since. So
do you think the year off made a big difference for you?
Oh my God. Yeah. Huge. I mean, I went from, you know, competing at 230 on stage to 245 on stage, you know, 225 to 230 on stage to 245 on stage. And that was kind of like, I think if I look at really back at it now, I think that 2017 going into 2018 and now this jump I just made are probably the 2 most incremental jumps I've had in my career in terms of like, you know, like breaking into new groupings, you know, like that brought me from like, hey, if I'm lucky, you know, I'm in a first call or I'm like in the top 5, I'm always kind of a first call guy, but usually at the bottom at the outside. And then went like, okay, now I'm always a top 4 guy. If I have a good showing, I'm like 2nd, 3rd, you know, and then I won the Spain show, which was really a lower tier show. So that wasn't like winning any other show really, you know?
Yeah.
So that was like the first break, was getting into that like top 3, top 4 kind of guys. And then after that, like when we went into this season, like even my worst showings, like I'm still getting second in shows, like I showed up the worst I'd probably ever been at Tampa this year, and I was still second.
Yeah.
And I was mediocre, it was good, but definitely not my best at New York. And I won that show. And then I think this Olympia here, bringing this physique really jumped me, was the next jump after that 2018 coming back. And this has been like my next, like, okay, now we've seen what I'm capable of at this point. So now where do we go from here, right?
So 2 questions. Does Patrick have you figured out now to the point where we can expect something similar to what we saw this weekend at your next showing?
I believe so. Yeah. I think, and I think for me and him, and I think I said this when we were talking the other time, it's more of a thing of like, for us, it's what not to do more than what to do.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of like, I need very little, it's like, don't change anything. Like, we kept GH in, we kept my test in, we kept my water in, we kept my salt in, like it was really just like a ride into the show, slow incremental increase in carbs. Like there was no like typical peak week, like wizardry, like I wasn't doing like water manipulation, sodium manipulation, taking the vitamin C and asparagus. And like, it's like, there was no like fucking hocus pocus, So I think for me, it's, we really, I think the simplicity, the more simple we've got every show, the better I've looked. We went a little fancy for Tampa. It didn't work. We went less fancy for New York. It didn't work. We went even as basic, just like ride into the show as possible this show. And it was the best look I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
So
do you think
go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. I feel like I want to ask this because I don't know if it's part of the reason. Do you think you're able to do that though, because you were so lean from the previous shows?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, and my career's dictated this basically all through it, that the longer I go in a season, the better I get, like as I'm in shape, and the opportunity I have to push things less from a cardio and a diet standpoint, the better I can always get, once I'm in shape once, and then I can kind of increase the food, decrease the cardio, and really like build into a show. My physique is always going to be its best. But going back even to Tampa being my first show of the year, I think if we had implemented what we just did for this show here into Tampa, the look would have been vastly, vastly different. Like obviously in the 6 months or 5 months from Tampa to now, I did have a full overhaul in training. And like, obviously I learned a lot and I improved a lot for sure. My physique, but my physique when it was at Tampa was still capable of very close to what it was at this Olympia. It just was not demonstrated whatsoever with the peak protocol that we put in place. Right. So, I think I could have been 70, 80, 85 to 90% of what I was at this Olympia in Tampa and New York. We just didn't have the intel that we had now. So I think going forward, we can definitely continue to build on this look. And I mean, Patrick and me obviously expect nothing less than this look going forward. Yeah.
Do you think though, and this is one facet that you might not have an answer for, because it might be something you might look at later on down the road, but do you think the fact that competing more in a year, like there's less pressure after you've done the first one?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like because it's kind of like the pressure mounts and mounts and mounts. People are like, well, what is Iain going to look like this year?
Yeah.
So Tampa is like a really big deal. Then everybody sees you. So it's kind of like,
yeah. And I knew I wasn't going to get worse than Tampa. So it's definitely really the pressure.
But I mean, like you can go kind of just go about your business now, like the cat's out of the bag bullshit. So you can go and just do your thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder how much that
plays. At the beginning, obviously now that I've displayed this physique, the pressure is higher in a sense,
that way. Yeah.
In that sense, it is higher. I think for me, and this is, kind of on like a separate note of this, I think a big thing for me is just really being, and everyone's different. And I know you might feel differently on this, but for me, being very forthcoming with what I have at the time with my physique is a big thing for me in terms of stress reduction.
Mm-hmm.
Like going into Tampa, like I was kind of like hidden, and I talked a lot about, with the Hunter stuff, and that hype built up a lot. And then that hype combined with me also being kind of in an air of mystery built up a higher expectation, and then obviously that hindered me mentally significantly. Then once the cat was out of the bag going to New York, and then from the Olympia, or from New York to the Olympia, I was like posted everything, every progress shot I had that I thought was good, I threw up, and this last Olympia week, I was throwing up everything, like I was just fucking posting my glutes left, right, and center, and everything I could think of,
Yeah. Is
so
that something?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think for me, showing exactly where I am, setting the expectation, And for myself to just like have it all out there in the air, you know, I think that makes me feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more like at ease, not like I'm, you know, setting the bar super high in this like air of mystery for myself. You know, I think when people, especially once you get to this level, the less you show, the people expect more, you know, because they think you're hiding like some, you know, glorious mystery that you're building under wraps, you know, like it's like he's been in the trenches. He must be bringing something crazy, you know? So, you know, I think for me, just to like continue to document the small incremental progress, you know, and be very forthcoming does a lot for my mental state. So I'm going to try and be, you know, continue down that road as I have been, you know, going into the off season, then into prep for whatever I decide to do first next year, kind of based off, you know, how the world is in the next couple months. So yeah, I think that's a big thing for me for sure.
Yeah. I think I always wonder sometimes why I post so much, and I think you kind of hit it on the head. It just takes away most of the pressure. Like you're like,
I know James say this too. Like James, you know, him and Patrick are posting everything. He's like, it's best to just get it all out there. And if I shit the bed on stage, you can be like, well, at least I look good at 2 weeks out, you know? And people know that. It's like, you fucked something up in your peak, but he was good at 2 weeks out.
Yeah, exactly. No. You know, turning to the judges, I wonder now that they've seen one of the positives about what you've done is I feel like when you go to the Olympia next year, like, you know, if you know, everything works out in your favor, or even if you do the Arnold's next, whatever you decide to do, I feel like the judges are looking for you because now you're right at that spot now where they're like, okay, Iain's challenging for that upper tier.
And I think that goes for any other show too. I mean, like if I show up at, you know, a Toronto Pro next year or to Tampa, I think that I've now demonstrated that I am a top 8, top 10 guy is really going to give me, you know, always that good look right away, you know. You know, not that I wasn't getting those before. I mean, I've been up in the top group in every show I've done, but I think having that like eliteness air surrounding you in smaller shows does go a long way for sure.
Well, I just think, you know, people talk about politics, and I don't think it's politics. I think it's just it's human nature. It's
absolutely.
It's okay. We know Iain's great. So if you just do decide to do a Toronto Pro, they're like, okay, we're going to be looking for Iain.
Yes.
You know, so it's kind of like you get that first look over everybody else.
Yeah.
So
it's not politics; it's earned. You know.
No. I understand that, and then I'm
agreeing with you. Yeah. It's human nature, and I earned that by showing up at the Olympia as a top guy.
Yeah.
And I've earned that look now. You know, I mean, just like anyone else that's been at the Olympia shows up at, you know, a mid-tier show, they get that look. I mean, it's just what you earn from showing up and being at a high level, right?
Yeah, and I mean, also momentum is real. It's a real thing. So, you know, the next show you come into, you have this momentum that you're riding on. And it's going to mean a lot when you step on stage, no matter what show you do. So what show, like, have you even sat and thought about what you're doing next? Or you just,
I mean, and that's why I mentioned it. I mean, my goal has always been and will always continue to be until I do it once to win Toronto. You know, being a Canadian guy, that's like my New York Pro. I mean, I already won New York Pro. So, I mean, that's like the one I want to like just fucking blow the doors off as a Canadian, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and I did it in 2019. I was not very good. I lost to De La Rosa. You know, he deserved that win. You know, the show didn't happen this year. Obviously, I was going to do it this year. That was obviously planned to. But if it happens next year, I will 100% be at that show. Yes.
I'm going to do that show too, I think.
Do it.
Not that I could beat you, but I think it'd be fun to compete with you. And it's also, I feel like it'd be, if I was going to do like one last show to wrap it up, I feel like it would be good to do the hometown kind of show.
Yeah.
So maybe it'd be fun.
That's definitely where I'd like to go next. And, you know, if it happens in June, it's on the schedule right now to be in June. So, I mean, if it does happen, I'd love to do that. And that's always a good timing for me too. Like that gives me a couple months now to like rest and, you know, come off everything and recharge my body and enjoy my vacation, do my quarantine, all that bullshit. And then when things are all cleared up, then I'll start into prep again.
So speaking of your vacation, where are you going? You guys are leaving tomorrow. Where are you going?
We're going to, I guess it's technically Cancun. We're going to a resort called Excellence Playa Majuras. So it's just like on the coast of Cancun.
Who's all going? Everybody in the house there?
The four of us. So me, Chris, Courtney, and Melissa.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Is there going to be,
sorry, go ahead.
Is there going to be a lot of eating or just drinking or both?
I mean, depends who you're asking. If you're asking the girls, it'll be lots of drinking and not very much eating. If you ask me and Chris, it'll probably be lots of eating and not very much drinking.
How's Chris feeling after shocking the world and walking away with it? Are you feeling good as his coach, being like, you know, you guys did something amazing, man. Everybody I've talked to is like, I can't believe how he showed up. So you had a hand in that, obviously being his coach.
Yeah.
So how did that feel?
I mean, I think it feels really good. I think for both of us to put any doubt that we may have had and that anyone else may have had to bed. You know, I mean, like last year, obviously the doubt was warranted. I mean, you know, he was less than he was capable of, and this year, obviously completely demonstrated that in spades.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously when you're fighting against like his body, it's always like a question mark going into every year. And I think this year when we had, you know, we weren't fighting against his body, and we proved to ourselves that we can do this with very minimal impact on his health and on his autoimmune, you know, from a very invasive kind of prep, and still accomplish what we accomplished. Felt really good. And I think to kind of put all that doubt behind us and everybody else, to really show what he was capable of, felt really, really, really fucking good for sure.
So as the Mr. Olympia coach, do you get a cut of his pay or what?
I get treated to some dinners, and that's it. That's good enough for me. That's I mean, bullshit. Hey, I almost want as much money as him, so I can't complain too much.
What was your
It's the joy of the men's open.
What was your check?
I don't know yet. They haven't told us yet, but seventh is usually like somewhere between 20 and 25. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think sixth was 40 grand.
40, yeah. No, fifth was 40, and then I think it's like 35, and then I think it's like 25 or 30 for seventh. Nathan won 25 for seventh in 2017. So
okay, so I'm not going to keep you because I know you got shit to do and you're leaving tomorrow. But he's got it. So for those of you who don't know,
pepper sauce here. That's the best one I could get. That's going to be fucking nasty.
For those of you who don't know, me and Iain had a bet. He bet that you said Brandon, right?
I said Brandon was going to win. And to be honest, I knew I was probably going to lose, but this is good entertainment for people anyways. So it's fucking perfect. You know?
So Iain said Brandon was going to win. I picked Rami to win. And the loser had to drink a shot of hot sauce. So we're going to see. I want to see the shot pouring though. So can you?
Yeah.
This is going to be, dude, this is good. We should have started with that because then you would have to do the interview with your fucking mouth on fire.
Yeah. So this is level 5 out of 5. That's a 5-star. That's the best I could get. All right. So I don't have a shot glass. I got like this kind of glass. So
just fill it. Just fill it up.
I could use this. That would work. Let me. Can you rinse this, Courtney?
Yes, sir.
Oh man, this is going to be great. But you're lucky though. You kind of like hot stuff. I don't. I would have been fucked.
Yeah, I like hot sauce to an extent.
Yeah.
But...
This is my. I won 2 bets because now
this is the cap off some Vaso dry. So this might be kind of nasty.
Oh no! You're gonna get a double burn.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the lid off it. Okay, well I'm just gonna pour it out of the bottle.
All right, that works.
So I'm filling that fucker.
All right. Yeah, I gotta see it. I want to watch you pour it.
That's disgusting.
Oh my god, Iain, you're gonna fucking throw up.
Oh, that's a lot more.
That's a lot of hot sauce. That's a lot of hot
my life. Okay, this is just water. Do we have like fucking almond milk or something around here?
We need milk.
Yeah. Do we have real milk?
I have some cashews.
Do we have real milk though?
No, cashew milk.
I have cashews. That's not gonna do anything.
No, cashew milk.
Oh, cashew milk. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if that actually does anything because it's like you need like the fucking like lactose and shit, don't you?
I don't think anything's gonna help you. That's a lot of fucking hot sauce in one shot.
So I got this to go here. All right, you ready?
Okay. Okay, do it up. Cheers. Oh my god.
Fucking, that's empty. Holy.
This is the best ever.
I'll try and sit on it a minute so I don't called the pussy.
Yeah, someone's gonna call you a pussy. Is it bad? It's not bad. You seem like you're fine. I think you're fine.
It's like a. It's getting worse as it goes, though.
Are you gonna be okay? I think you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I think that's not too bad. I think I can not milk this one and seem like a man.
You think so?
Yeah, this is like an episode of Hot Ones now, so I gotta sit on it and be real.
I fucking ran out of questions already. I don't know. What did you eat? What did you eat after the show? Did you get the 6 burgers? Not 6, but did you get the breakfast sandwiches from McDonald's?
Well, fucking US here. I mean, Canada, we have all day breakfast sandwiches now, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm drinking some of this.
Don't drink any. Don't drink it.
Okay. I had a millisip there. I'll try not to.
Okay.
Yeah. So fucking McDonald's here doesn't serve breakfast sandwiches all day.
Yeah.
So we went to McDonald's after the show. I wanted breakfast sandwiches. They said they didn't have them.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I really want a McFlurry. They didn't have the ice cream machine on.
Oh no.
So what did we get that night?
Oh, we've got that shitty bar food.
From where? Where'd we go? Oh yeah, we went to this place called American Social.
Yeah.
Fuck. And it was like they had a DJ there, so we had to pay cover, and it was like fucking Puerto Rican Latin music, like as loud as you could,
While you're trying to eat. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like bar food. Like we had some pizza and fucking quesadillas and shit. It was not that great.
Yeah.
And then we got some like gas station food on the way home, a couple tubs of like Ben and Jerry's and candy and shit.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, then I did an Uber Eats and I got my breakfast sandwiches.
Did you?
Yeah.
How many did you get?
I got 3, but I got them from Dunkin' Donuts, and they were like big ones on croissants. They were good.
Okay. But you didn't get the McDonald's ones?
No.
All right.
No. Because when I went to do the Uber Eats, I got up at like 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and McDonald's stopped doing breakfast at 10:30.
Yeah.
For Uber Eats, so I was too late. But they were good. And I got that and some hash browns and a donut. And then last night we went to this place called M-U.
Yeah.
It was like some kind of like Latin fusion food or something, but fuck, man, it was good. It was the best food I've had in a long time. Yeah,
that's
really
awesome.
good.
Where are you guys going tonight? I know you said you had reservations later on.
We're going to Kabuki, a really nice sushi place here in Orlando.
Why have I heard of that? I think I've been
it's
there.
a chain of like fancy sushi places. I think.
Oh, maybe that's why. I think I've been to one in Dallas.
Yeah, so we're going there tonight. Just the 5 of us plus my buddy Julie and his girlfriend Sabrina. So,
last question before I let you go. Did you cry after you got off stage, or after prejudging?
No.
No. I would have thought after the year you had, maybe I'm just a bitch. I don't know. I would have thought after.
I don't know if I had like a couple, like what I think the biggest, the closest I felt to it was because immediately when I got off stage, I didn't know my placing.
Yeah.
So when I got off, I was kind of like running around with like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to find someone to tell me my placing.
Yeah.
But when I was asking all the judges that I could see back there, they only knew where they'd scored me. They didn't know,
where you were.
Yeah. They're not the head judge, so they didn't see the compilation.
Yeah.
So I talked to one guy, and he's like, "Well, I don't know. I had you in 7th, but I know Buddy had you in here, and blah blah blah." He's like, "I don't know. It'll be posted later tonight." And I'm like, "I can't fucking go out and enjoy dinner with my family unless I have a fucking answer to this."
Yeah.
And then not even to sound like this was the focus for me, but I really want to know if I beat Hunter. And I know that Hunter really know after he got on stage if he beat me.
Yeah.
That was a rivalry, and we were right there, and we got the comparison at night. So I really wanted to know where I ended up there.
Yeah.
So then we were going to leave, and and I was like, fuck, I still haven't found out. So Melissa was like, well, just fucking go back into the press pit and find Tyler or Steve and just be like, where the fuck did I place? So I was like, fuck it. So me and Julian walked back to the press pit. They were just there, like chatting with some judges. And I just went up to Tyler and I was like, hey man, I don't know if this is like against protocol or what the deal is. Like, you just got to tell me where I fucking placed,
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we had you and Hunter tied for 7th after prejudge.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I know me, Steve, and Sandy had you 7th clear over Hunter tonight.
Okay.
But I don't know where the other judges scored you. And then Steve was standing right there, and he just kind of like popped in. He's like, yeah, well, you were 7th. You were a clear 7th tonight. And I was like, oh, thank God.
That's great. Yeah. Well,
So
good for you,
once
man.
I heard that, like from Steve, that I was like a clear 7th tonight, it was like the biggest wave of like relief and like euphoria over me,
Yeah.
Because obviously I knew, and when I saw the pictures, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm a clear 7th after tonight. And I knew I was really good at the night show. But you never know, you never know how things are going to go. And obviously your mind starts running like, well, maybe they had Dexter in a clear 7th, and then me and Hunter compared for 8th and 9th, and maybe Hunter beat me, and maybe I'm actually 9th, Like you start running these things, and you're like, fuck, I don't want to get my expectations up for 7th or 6th even. And then I end up like 9th or 10th, and like you're super let down.
Yeah.
But once I heard that 7th, man, that was like the closest moment I had to like, it was just like the biggest wave of like, oh, like weight off my shoulders, like, fuck,
Yeah.
Like I felt so at peace with everything. Like it was just like the biggest peaceful feeling ever,
I would have thought after the year you had, I mean, you had a up and down year, I guess. So it wasn't a bad year, but I would have thought after prejudging, I would have probably broke down. Cause I mean, you were clearly in the top 10, which is huge.
Yeah.
So, but I guess
after the prejudging, obviously I was very happy when I got off stage, but then I like wanted more. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I knew I looked so good and I saw it. So I'm like, fuck, now I got to fight for that. Like, you know, I got to fight with Akeem, or I got to fight more for if a Hunter's ahead of me. Like I didn't know where I was. So like my mind was just so much on being better for the night show that I like didn't really like focus too much on where I could be. And also, like I said, like I didn't want to like end up, because, and this doesn't, I don't mean this to sound rude to anybody, but if I'd been in that group and I'd lost to someone like Justin or someone, that would have been a disappointment to me, you know, because I brought my best physique ever. I've never lost to Justin. If I'd lost to Justin here, that would have been massively disappointing to me. So, you know, I didn't know where I kind of ended up yet. You know, obviously you can speculate, but I've speculated about shows and, you know, ended up completely different than I thought.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't want to put too much thought into it. But then when they brought us back at night and compared me and Hunter, and I felt very confident that I was beating him after that, I felt very good. And then when I got off stage and heard that from the judges, you know, from the horse's mouth that I was 7th, like that was the best feeling ever for sure.
Yeah. Well, good for you, man. Listen, I'm going to let you go do your thing because you deserve to celebrate and have a good time, and you probably want to drink some milk. So
I'm almost settled now.
I appreciate you not welching on the belt on the bet.
I got some major heartburn now, though.
You'll be okay. We'll just you're worried about it when it comes out the other side. That's you're going to be gone this week for Bodybuilding Bollocks, but we'll get you back next week. We'll
man, for sure.
Get the crew together.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Okay, man. Enjoy your vacation.
All right. We'll see you guys.
All right, brother. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share with your friends, and like the video. And if you get a chance, check out the description for all the different links to all the different places you can find Hostile and myself. And lastly, check out hostile.com for our new line of supplements and all of our apparel and gear. Thanks again for watching.